Hello everyone, this is John Galt speaking. I just had to come here to my YouTube page just to make sure that I'm streaming. So, hello guys. I thought I'd make you guys a video since it's been about 100 years. And so I got a question the other day and I thought that I would try to answer said question. Okay? And it was in reference to dual pistols. And hello, William Hardy. I've been doing pretty good, taking a pretty significant break, as most of you guys may have noticed. I really just ain't much into doing this anymore, just to be perfectly honest with you guys. But I'm going to give it the old college try and see if I can get back into being motivated enough to continue to do this. Okay? All right. So, the question of dual wielded pistols. Okay. Now, guys, I want to, preface this by saying, I don't know if I'm going to be doing very much multiplayer stuff on these live streams anymore. Basically because of the course that I sell on Udemy is specifically geared towards networking, and the only income that I have anymore is from the courses that I sell on Udemy and the products that I sell on the Unreal Engine 4 marketplace. So in order to, I guess, not give away things that I'm trying to sell, I have to keep the scope limited to these videos that I do. However, you guys can feel free to make donations via PayPal to my efforts here if you want. Okay. And just to show you guys that real quick, just so you know exactly where you go to do that. If you go to my YouTube page, right here, you can click this and this will be my PayPal where you can send me a donation if you choose to. This is for my Udemy course that I sell on Udemy for multiplayer, first-person shooter multiplayer. And this is a link to all the assets that I currently have for sale on the UE4 marketplace. So, having said that, guys, I know everybody's broke. I ain't got no money, Galt. I ain't sending you no money. I ain't got no money. We're all broke, okay? I get it. But if any of you guys ever do feel the need or want to, buy me a cup of coffee or whatever it is that you feel like you would want to do, that's how you can do it. You can just click that and send it directly to my PayPal. Okay, so let's see here. William says, you taught me Unreal Networking and Unreal, and now I just landed a job in the industry. So much respect. When my paycheck comes in, I'll send you a present. Well, you don't have to do that, but just once again, if you guys are called to do that, I really do appreciate that. And this is what I do for my sustainability, right? So anything that I get, that's what I use to buy groceries with, to pay utility bills with. Luckily, I don't have any debt, right? So that helps out a lot. I don't have house payments to pay. I don't have car payments to pay. So it don't take a lot to keep me going. Okay, so with that, now let's get into the meat and potatoes of what this stream is actually about. And it is specifically about dual wielded pistols. Pistol in the right hand, pistol in the left hand, being able to shoot. Okay? So before we get started with this, anytime you get ready to do a project, the very first thing that you need to kind of get a grasp on is the assets that you're going to need in order to accomplish this. Okay? So first and foremost, you're going to have to figure out a way to get some dual wielded pistol animations. Okay? And I know of only really two places that you can get that. I haven't really searched out the marketplace very much. There may be some other than the ones that I'm going to show you guys. But there is only one route that I know of that you can do this for free to get your animations. Okay. And I know everybody likes free, so we're going to try to go the free route. But I do want to mention, you know, some of this in the beginning is, first of all, you got to have dual wielded pistol animations. Okay. And second of all, you're going to have some pistols, right? The models for the pistols. Third of all, you're going to need some sound effects for the pistol shooting, maybe for the pistol reloading. You're going to need some effects like a muzzle flash for the muzzle flash, and you're going to need, you know, something to simulate a bullet if you're wanting to do a projectile weapon versus a hit scan weapon. Okay, so, and with that, let me show you guys where you can get some dual wielded pistol animations. So quite some time ago, I was interested in creating a Western themed game, and I happen to own a product here called Western Girls. Okay. And if you open this up, you know, you can kind of see here that, yeah, it's a chick. And she's got a pistol, and I'm pretty sure, not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that there are dual wielded pistol animations inside this kit that you can get here. Okay. And I don't remember exactly how much I paid for that. I don't really remember. But that's one route that you could go. Of course, it's going to be a paid for asset, meaning you have to buy it, however much it was. I don't know. Does it show it here if I just show this? No, it don't, because I already own it. Seems like it was $50, maybe, something like that. Now, if you want to go the free route, you guys do realize that the free route is not always free, because what you lack in paying money for it, you generally end up having to compensate for that by putting time in. Okay. And so the free route, if you guys want to go the free route, there is a twin blast character that was in the game Paragon that Epic Games released these characters and their animations for free. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into, you know, copyright. You know, you can only use these in a limited fashion. Okay, so you guys will have to read that. But you could theoretically use this character, or alternately, we're just going to use the animations from this character, right? Maybe even use the guns. I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay. But just be aware that if you're making a game, a legit game, okay, and you're wanting to release said game, you can't put this character in your game and call it Twin Blast, okay? Because Epic Games is not giving you the rights to, you know, use this character's name and its look. They may not get too bent out of shape if you're only going to be using the animations from this character, but they definitely are not going to let you make a Paragon game and use Twin Blast, okay? It's just not going to happen. You can use this for demonstrational purposes, really is what it's for. Okay? Now, the next question that you need to ask yourself about, you know, a dual wielded pistol scenario is the big question of, is this going to be first person? Is this going to be third person? Is it going to be first or third? Are you going to do what they consider a true first person view, which is basically you take a third person character and you slap a camera on its head, okay, which is the cheap generic way to do it? Or are you going to do it the way that I teach in my Udemy course, which is you use 3 separate meshes for your character? You have a set of arms only. You have a lower torso. and you have a full body mesh. And all three of those meshes combined is what gives you your first person character. Now, if you're only going to be doing single player, okay, you can get away with just a set of arms and a lower torso. But if it's a multiplayer game, the people looking at you have to be able to see the full third person character as well. Okay. If you're doing first and third, meaning you can switch between the views, naturally, you're also going to have the full body mesh. Okay. So with that, now what we're going to do is we're going to go, poke around in these projects here and just see what I've got set up here to work with. Okay. So I have this one here called Scratch. I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and let's just take a tour around in here and see what we have. Let me get me a drink here. Okay. So what I have in here is this kit from the marketplace, which I believe is free, by the way, called Sci-Fi Weapon Dark. And if you look inside here, you're going to see that there's weapons in here. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that there is a pistol. So let me go ahead and open this pistol up. And this will show you the pistola. So there could be one of your pistols. There's also some pickups in here, like if you want to make ammo pickups. And there's also sound effects, and there's FX. And that's something that we may use in this process here of creating this little demonstration I'm going to show you guys. Okay? Okay. Now, we're going to open this project here called My Project V415. And let's look in here and see what we have. I think this is just a completely blank project. Actually, this one here is a completely blank project, and all I have done is added the free animation starter pack. So basically just the character, the UE4 mannequin, and there's some animations in here, which, by the way, none are for dual wielded pistols. Okay. But we may end up sourcing some of this stuff here as well. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up the next one. Look at that, boy. We got some crashes going here. I've noticed that since I upgraded to Windows 11, every single version of the engine crashes when you close it, except for 4.27. Okay. So just so you guys know, that's something that I've noticed since I've had Windows 11. It didn't do it before, so it must be something with Windows 11 causing it. Okay, now here's that Western Girl pack that I was talking about. And inside here, there are some animations. So we have, it looks like a disarmed set of animations. So she's not carrying any kind of weapons here. And I could have swore that there was move basic. I could have swore that there was. Yeah, here we go. So you can see here that she does have a dual set of pistol animations in here that you could use to create your locomotion for your character. So let me just go ahead and open up one of these animations here so that you guys can have a look at these. I believe that when she's walking, she's holding the weapons down by her hip. And then when you get ready to shoot, she brings them up, right? I think that's how this was, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so you can see here that she's holding them down. And of course, these are root motion animations, which is not really what you need. So you can click this button here on these enforce root lock where she'll stay in place, right? And anyway, that's what those animations would be like. So when you're moving around, she wouldn't have her weapon up. And then when you get ready to shoot, she brings her weapons up, and then you can do your whole dual wielded scenario, if that's what you want to do. Okay. So one thing about my content, guys, is there's a lot of talk in it, right? Because unfortunately, game design is not as easy as people think it is. There's a lot of thought that has to go into how you actually want your characters to work. Okay? Are you going to have an unarmed state? Are you? Well, if you are, you need to script that accordingly. Are you going to have the weapons aimed all the time? Right? Instead of her walking with them down by her hip like she is, do you want them to stay up? And if they are down by her hip, when you script your weapon firing logic, there's going to have to be some delay put in so that she doesn't shoot her weapon until they're actually aimed, right? Otherwise, she'll be shooting at the ground and she's bringing her weapon up. So there's a whole lot of thought that has to go into this stuff, guys. Believe it or not. Okay. Okay. Let's see. What else is in this one? Okay. So I also put Twin Blast in here. So we'll go in here and have a look at his animations. And, okay. That's another thing that you guys need to be aware of, is that you have to have an aim offset, right? So that when you aim your weapon, you know, you have up, center down, center left, center right, etc. And so, as you can see here, Twin Blast, he actually has aim offsets, I think. Left down, left center. Right, let me just open one of these up. It'll take a second here. We'll get the script in here in a bit, guys. Just that's one of the reasons, you know, that I didn't do many of these videos. People's always in too big of a damn hurry. And I'm sorry, right? Game design takes a lot of work and a lot of thought. Otherwise, you get pretty far over into your development, and then you're like, oh, crap, this ain't going to work. I wish I'd have thought of that. And then you have to go back and redo a bunch of stuff because you didn't think of that, right? So some of these aim offsets here that are to go with Twin Blast are his head, not his guns, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're looking through these animations is this is his head, left center, not his guns. So then that means there's some in here. See, this is called travel mode. Do you see that? So all these that are called travel mode are not for the weapon. They're for his head only. Okay. So, and you know, it's funny that some of these say head only. Here's one called idle left down. So let's see if this one is actually the guns. Okay. So here you can see that these are actually the weapons, okay? Not just his head. So if you're planning on using the Twin Blast animations, there's a lot to consider, okay? One is, do you want him to only turn his head, and then you actually have to aim the weapon, and then when you aim the weapon, his head doesn't just turn, it turns his whole body so that he aims the weapons too, okay? It's really just how damn complicated do you want it to be? It's what it amounts to, okay? Now, another thing that I want to show here, which a lot of people are not aware of, is, okay, so let's say we're not going to use the Twin Blast character, okay, because of the reasons that I talked about earlier about Epic don't want you using these characters in your game. But you do want to use the animations only. How could you do that? because unfortunately, these animations, this skeleton in this character is significantly different than the default UE4 gray dude. Meaning, this character has, if you look at the skeleton here, you can see that the skeleton hierarchy is significantly different than the default UE4 skeleton. So as you can see here, you got all these different lower arm plate, grenade weapons, and all this stuff, okay? And if you're only going to build a basic character using the basic animations, you don't want to use this skeleton, obviously, because that's just going to cause you problems in the long run. So a little trick that you can do is if you were to take one of these animations, let's just say, I think they're called Jog. Okay. So if you were to take Jog, let's see if we can find the Jog Forward animation. So there's Jog Backward right here, Jog Forward. Okay. So you guys know that in order to build a blend space for your locomotion of your character, you need idle, you'll need a walk or jog forward, you'll need a walk or jog backward, you'll need a walk or jog left, or a walk or jog right, forward left, back right, back left. Okay. So if you want to use these animations, which are the free ones, let me show you guys what you can do here. So we're going to take jog forward, jog backward, and we're going to take jog left, wherever that is, jog left, and jog right. And we need, let's just go ahead and export these. So select them in here, and then you go to Asset Actions, and you go to Export. Now, I'm just going to stick these on my desktop and make a big, huge mess here. I'm going to leave all these things here default, and just hit Export, Export, Export. And then we're going to look for the idle animation, okay? Because you do need that as well. And of course you would need the aim offsets as well, okay? So let's just see if we can find idle. It's always a good idea to open it up and have a look at it. So that, I guess, is the one that we'd be looking for. So we'll go ahead and take that one, Asset Action, Export, and we'll stick it on the desktop too. Okay, so now let me show you guys what you can do here. So in this project here, that I only have the default UE4 mannequin in, I'm going to go ahead and open this project up. And I'm going to make a new folder in here. And I'm just going to call this Duel Wielded Anims. Okay. And inside here, I'm going to hit import. I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to grab every single one of these animations that I exported out of Twin Blast. I'm going to select the default UE4 mannequin skeleton that is in this project from the animation starter pack, and I'm going to leave everything else default, and I'm just going to hit import all, and let's see what happens here. Now it's going to give you an error here telling you about all these bones that are missing. Ignore that. It does not matter, okay? Because we're not going to be using these bones anyway. Okay. All we really need is the basic movement. So it not having these bones is 100% okay. And now if you was to open up these animations, you're going to see that you now have the gray dude. Okay, now, once again, I want to also clarify here that this is not a perfect solution, right? Like if you come over here and look, you can see his arms are probably a little derpy, right? His shoulders are up a little higher than they should be probably, but it's enough to get you started, okay? And it's free, by the way. Those Paragon characters are free. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the Jog Forward and just kind of have a look at what it looks like here. And if you're okay with that, then these are definitely the animations that you can use, okay, to get started with. Now, you can edit and modify and tweak and change these animations to make them look better. One method that I used in the past is to first retarget the animations from Twin Blast to the default UE4 dude. After you get them retargeted, then export the animations and import them into your project, okay? And it looks a little better when you do that. But once again, it's like I tell everybody, when you use things for free, didn't your mama ever tell you there ain't nothing in life free, right? When you try to use free things, you end up paying for those free things in the amount of work that you have to put into cleaning it up, tweaking it, perfecting it, and making it look AAA quality for whatever it is that you're trying to do. So in the end, it's not really free, is it? No, it's not. Okay. Okay. So now that we have that done, I don't know what we're going to do here. Should we just go ahead and use Twin Blast? Like use the character? Or should we use this guy here? Just this gray guy? Or should we go use that Western chick? Right? What should we do here? I don't know. What should we do? Let me light me up a smoke here. I'm not supposed to be smoking in my house anymore, by the way, guys, but it ain't gonna hurt nothing. You know, honestly, it would probably be, I guess, the better route just to use what we have here. Use this gray dude and go from here. Okay, so that's likely what we'll do. We'll just do that. So I'm going to make a new folder here, and I'm going to call it Maps. Once again, this is just for demonstrational purposes. So you guys can feel free to modify whatever it is that I do here to suit whatever it is that you want to do. So I'm going to delete this and this player start, and I'm just going to slap a terrain in here. Just something for us to walk on. And I guess I might as well go ahead and put a player start in here. The question is, do we go from ground zero or do we try to patch up a bunch of epic shoddy work? Isn't that funny, guys? You know that's funny. So let's go ahead and build the lighting here so we can get rid of these black stripes all over the floor. And I'm not fooling with light mass importance volumes, character indirect detail volumes. I don't give a single crap about that. So we're going to save this map in the maps folder. And I'm just going to leave it called Untitled. And we're going to go from ground zero. How's that? So we're going to create a new folder. And we're going to call this Blueprints. And inside here, we're going to create a blueprint class, and we're going to make it a character, and we'll call this BP character master, like so. And then we're going to create another blueprint class, and this is going to be a game mode base, and we'll just call this GM Duel Pistols, like that. And inside this, we'll open this. We're going to set our default pawn class to that character master that we just created. Compile, save. And then over here in our world settings, which if that's not open, go up here to settings and go to world settings, and that should give you this window here. We're going to set this to be our game mode dual pistols, and we'll go ahead and save that, and we'll spawn in here, and we're nothing. We're a completely empty blank character. Okay, which is exactly where we should be at this point. I'm going to have to turn off this eye exposure adaptation crap, because otherwise that's going to make me nuts. So we're going to go in project settings. Oh God, where is this? Rendering? Is that what this is? Yep, rendering. And we scroll down here, and we are going to turn off auto exposure, because screw eye adaptation. Okay, I don't know who at Epic thought that was a good idea. Completely, utterly, 100% annoying. Okay, so now in this character master blueprint, we got to put our mesh in here. Okay, so we're going to put in, for our skeletal mesh, the mannequin, and we're going to set this to location in the Z to -90, and then the rotation in the Z to also -90. Okay, and we're going the third person route. Okay, so select the character master, otherwise it'll try to parent it to something here. We don't want that. And we're going to add a spring arm, and we're going to then, with the spring arm selected, we're going to add another component, and it's going to be a camera, like so. And now if we spawn back in here, we should be able to see something. Look at that. Beautiful. But not really. Guys, I'll tell you, it's been a long time since I've did this. I haven't been using this engine. I haven't been doing any work, really, in over a year. So I'm kind of rusty at doing this crap again. So we got our character, we can see it, but we can't move or any of that cool stuff yet. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is set up some keys to be able to move this character around. So we're going to go into the settings, under project settings, and under input right here, we are going to add a jump, and that's going to be the space bar on the keyboard. And then we're going to add 4 axis maps. And this one is going to be move forward, and that's going to be the W. And then we're going to add one to this, right? Because we need to go forward and backward. So we're going to put the S key as backward, and on the S key, you have to change this to -1. +1 forward, -1 backward. Then we're going to call this one move right, and that's going to be the D key. And then we also need to go left. So that will be the A key. And that one also needs to be -1. And then we're going to have look up. And this is going to be the mouse. Is it X? And I believe we have to put this to -1. Otherwise, it's drive like an airplane, ups down and downs up. I think that's right. We'll find out soon enough. And then this one's going to be just called turn. Okay. And this one will be the mouse Y. Okay. Now, back into the character blueprint. In the event graph, let's go ahead and delete all this stuff out of here. Don't need that yet. We need to right click here and type move forward, and we want the axis event, not the axis value. And we need move right. And I believe it's get pawn control. Maybe just get control rotation. Right click here on this return value and split it. And then type make rotator. And we just need the yaw for this. And then we need to, what is it? Get forward vector. Add movement input. And this goes here. The value goes here. And this goes here. And somebody help me out here, guys. What's the other one? I know it's going to be this, right? So we can control W. And the axis value. And then we need the get right vector. Okay. And that goes in the world direction. And let's just see how bad I screwed this up. So let's spawn in here, and we should be able to W, S, A, D. So we can move around. No mouse yet. So let's go back in here, and we need to look up, and that will be the axis event. And the up and down will be pitch. So to cheat, you can just come in here and type pitch. And you have add controller pitch input. And then, of course, we need to turn. So we get the axis event for turn. And this would be the yaw. So add controller yaw input. And let's go ahead and just cram jump in. So type jump. We need the action event jump. And then if you right click and type jump, you get jump, the function jump. And then you type jump again. And you need the stop jumping function on released. Okay. So let's pop in here now and see what we got. Okay. We do have jump. We do have WASD, but the mouse I can't pitch up and down, so there's something foobarred here, which I'll never remember, by the way. But let's open this up, and I believe we select the character movement component, and there is a magical checkbox in here somewhere that has to be checked that I will never in a million years remember. It's something like use pawn control rotation or some shit like that. Where the hell is that? Maybe it's under the spring arm. No, maybe it's under the camera. Is that where it's at? Nope, it must be the spring arm. Is it that? Use pawn control rotation? Is that what it is? Okay, it's still not operating correctly. There's something else here I'm missing. Is it class defaults? Maybe it's this one. We uncheck this. Okay, that's definitely not it. Son of a... It's been too long, guys. Where's the magic box? Is it, do you check pitch? I know this sumbitch is in here somewhere. Nope, it definitely ain't that. It's not in here. Okay, it's definitely not in this. Spring arm. Use pawn control rotation. I believe that's it. Use pawn. Okay, look, under the camera here, use pawn control rotation. Is that it? Damn it. Okay, I think I see what it is. I believe, I believe in these settings here, I've got these ass backwards. So back in the project settings under input, I believe this is Y. And turn is X. Is that what it was the whole damn time? Come on now. Yep, that's exactly what it was. Son of a... All right, so now the question is, did I check a bunch of shit that I didn't need to? Let me uncheck this and see if that's... Nope. So that one does need to be checked. And then underneath the camera, that one also needs to be checked. Okay? And then in the class defaults, everything's default. Okay? So that's what it was. Under the spring arm, yeah, under the spring arm, you check use pawn control rotation. Under the camera, one of these, or is it both of them? I don't know. Damn it. Let's just try this here. Okay. I got it now. Bear with me, guys. So under the spring arm, under the camera settings, you check this box here that says use pawn control rotation. Everything else is default. So where I went in here in the camera and checked use pawn control rotation, you do not need to do that. Only under the spring arm. Okay, just make sure you've got the X and the Y right. It's been too long, guys. Okay. So now we've got a character that can WASD, and we can turn left, turn right, and we can pitch up and down. Okay. So now we got to get him animated. Raise your hand if you like doing animations. Said no one ever. Okay. So we're going to make a new blueprint. Under animation, we're going to make an animation blueprint. And this is going to be an anim instance. And this is going to be for the default dummy. And we're going to call this BPA for blueprint animation. Character master. Okay. We're going to open this. Actually, we don't need to open that yet. We still got a lot of shit to do. So let's save everything. Go into the character and select the mesh of the character over here. And we need to plug in that animation blueprint we just created called BPA character master. And now we get to go make some stuff. So in this dual wield anims folder that we put in here, we're going to right click and we're going to go under animation. And we are going to create a blend space, not the 1D. We're going to make a full blend space for the dummy. And we will call this BS for blend space. And just call it Loco Motion. And inside here, under the asset details, the horizontal axis and the vertical axis, this is going to be, well, this one we could call pitch, and that'll go -90. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This ain't right. I'm already doing something wrong here. Hold on. This is supposed to be, I got it. It's coming back to me. This is supposed to be direction. And this is going to be -180 to +180. And this is going to be speed. And this is going to be 0 to, let's just put in 250 for now. Okay. And now we need to bring in these animations. Okay. So we're going to have idle all the way across the bottom. And then we're going to have jog forward in the middle at the top. And we're going to have jog left and jog right. And then we're going to have jog backwards all the way over in the corners. And then if you hold your left shift button and left click, you can kind of see, scroll your mouse around and see what he does here. Okay. Now we might create some animations for forward left, forward right, back left, and back right. We might do that. But first, let's just get something happening. Okay. How about that? So that's what his locomotion will look like. I don't know about you guys, but every time I say that, I want that song to play from the 80s. I think it was the 80s. Do the locomotion. Trust me, you guys don't want me to sing. Okay, so in the blueprints, in the animation blueprint, in the event graph, we are going to start putting some logic together to monitor the direction and the speed of the character. So we're going to say try get pawn owner, and then we're going to cast to the character master, and then we're going to pull out of this and do an is valid, use this little macro here with this question mark out of the top pin for the successful execution. Then we're going to promote this to a variable out of the is valid, and we're going to call this BP character master ref, and that'll be a reference to our character forevermore in this animation blueprint. Hold down the S key and left click to get yourself a sequence. And then we're going to take this reference, get it, and we need to, and here's where I draw a total blank. What is it? Get velocity? Get velocity? Is that it? And then we're going to split this, and we're going to say make vector, and we're going to put X into X, and we're going to put Y into Y, and then we're going to get the length of this vector length, and we're going to promote this to a variable, and oddly enough, this becomes speed. Okay, and out of the, let's just take it out of the then one, and we'll plug this in. Double click the line to give you a shiny reroute node, and do something like that. Now you guys, I want to mention this here because I know somebody, you in the back, I see you with your question, you in the back. There are no tutorials that exist that take the velocity and then split it and break it and make a vector and omit the Z velocity. Now, why do they not do that? Well, let me tell you why. The Z velocity is the up-down speed of the character, okay? If you're going to be basing something on the up-down speed of the character, that needs to be done in its own way, right? So you would create another variable here as an instance and say up speed, right? Or falling speed, or up-down speed, or whatever the hell it is that you want to call it. Now, the reason that I discovered this and do this is because when you do this, calculate direction, okay, it wants the velocity, okay, and you plug this in here. But the problem is, if you do not omit the Z velocity, it screws up your blend space. When you jump, just jump, with your character, it tries to start moving in a direction. And then what happens is when you're just jumping up and down, you get this weird foot motion where it's trying to pick a direction to go. Okay. And it looks derpy as all shit. So you guys have no idea how long I bug hunted trying to figure out why my character did that. And that's why. Okay. Okay, so for the rotation of the character, it's base rotation, so wouldn't we get the rotation? Okay, so we've only got about, 15 in here. So I would imagine it's get control rotation and plug that in here. That may be wrong. It's been a long time since I did this, but we'll figure it out if it is wrong. So we will compile that and save it. Then we'll go into the anim graph and we're going to right click here and type state. And we're going to say add new state machine. And we're going to call this new state machine loco motion, like so. And let's go ahead and plug this up so we don't cuss for 3 hours figuring out why this character is not moving. Inside locomotion, we're going to come out of the entry point and we're going to add a state and we're going to call this jog. Actually, you know what? Let's call this idle underscore jog. How about that? Then we're going to open this and that blend space that we created called BS. Oh no, that ain't it. What the hell did we even call that? BS locomotion. We're going to drag this in, plug it up, and then we're going to get the, whoops, back in the event graph, we need to promote this to a variable, and this is going to be called direction, like so. Since how I forgot that. And then we need to plug in the speed to the speed and the direction to the direction. Compile it and save it and pray. Literally pray. So let's spawn in here. And now you can see that when we go W, well, nope, there's something broke. Okay, what did I break? I tell you what, since it's been 100 years since I've been in here, let's go cheat for a minute. Let's look at this jog here. No, that wouldn't be what it is. Let's look in this animation blueprint in here. I've got something screwed and I don't know exactly what it is. So let's go in the event graph. Ah, I think I see part of it already. So we got control rotation and we actually need the actor's rotation. Okay, so back in the event graph, this needs to be get actor rotation. Stupid shit. That's part of it. How about now? Okay, that's looking better. You guys have no idea how much crap there is to try to remember doing in this. Okay, he's floating. Do you see him floating? His feet are up off the ground. So let's go back in the character blueprint and let's take the mesh of this character and let's move it down like one click. So that'll make it -100 instead of -90. And now his feet are kind of poking in the ground. So we're going to have to do one of these awesome custom. So -100's too much. So let's say -97. How about that? How about now? Why do you not work? How about now? That's close enough. Close enough. Okay, now the speed of this character, you guys can see how he looks like he's kind of sliding as he's moving around. You guys notice that, or is that just me? So this is where you get to sit and tweak for 3 hours. Okay. So to try to move this along, actually, you know what? It's probably, let's look at something here, right? So when we created that blend space, we punched in a speed number of 250. So we need to take the character under the character movement component. We need to change his speed from max walk speed here. Let's change this to 250 and see if that helps. That may still be screwed up. I just guessed. I don't know what these animations are supposed to be at. So you can see there, that's way too slow. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that still too crappy? So let's do this. Let's change it to, let's say 350. And then let's open the blend space and set that to 350 as well. We could literally sit in here and tweak on this shit for hours, but I'm not going to do that. You guys can knock yourselves out. But basically what you have to do is find the correct speed that these animations need to go at, because there, that seems a little better. You guys get the point. It's a lot of back and forth. Okay. Okay. So I guess now what we need to do is the aim offset, right? Because right now he don't pitch up and down, and we need it to pitch up and down. So that means we need the aim offsets. So let's see here. So that'd be center. We're only going to do a 1D aim offset. So we need center. Just smash all the buttons. That's fine, I'm sure. We need center down, and center up. Okay. Right click, asset actions, export onto the desktop, same as we did the other ones. But John Galt, what about the rest? Well, if you're not doing a turn in place and stuff, you really don't need the rest. And we're definitely not doing turn in place in this crappy little video, okay? All right, so we do import, and we need center up, or center down and center up. Same skeleton, the default dummy, and we hit go. Yes, we know we've got an astronomical amount of bones missing. We know this, man. So now we're going to right click and we're going to say animation, and we're going to do an 1D aim offset here for the dummy. And we're going to call this AO Duel pistolas. And let's open this up. And we only have one axis here. And this is going to be pitch. And this is going to be -90 to +90. So you just type 90. And underneath, this is very important, so don't skip this. Under the additive settings here, this needs to be changed to the dual pistol idle animation. And I think it's just called idle here. And also, we need to open these animations for the aim offsets. And underneath it's in here. Underneath the additive settings, we need to change this to mesh space. The skeleton reference needs to be selected animation frame. And this needs to be that exact same idle, dual pistol idle animation. And we need to do that for each one. Okay, for each one of the idle animations. Or I mean for the aim offsets. So you can cheat. Let me show you guys a little cheat. So if you select all three of those aim offsets, right click and go to actually you can't do it from here, unfortunately. So in the content browser, you need to select all the idle animations, right click, go to asset actions, and go to bulk edit via property matrix. And this way you can do them all three at the same time. So if you go under additive settings and you change this to mesh space, and this goes to selected animation frame, and this goes to hit this little pick asset here. And this will be that idle animation. And then come over here and hit file, save. Now you just changed all of them in one go. Okay. Open back up your aim offset. And in the center here, this is going to be the idle, dual pistol idle. I guess we need to hang on a minute. What happened here? Why are you not working? Why is this broke? Why does everything have to suck? Well, it should work. There it goes. I don't know what I did. But it's working now. So center goes into the center. Oh, I know what it was. I was trying to bring the idle animation in. Duh. So center goes in the center. Center down goes to -90. Make sure you're going to -90. See it here on the bottom? And then center up goes to +90. And then left shift and click, and you can kind of scrub through it to see what he's going to do here. See how that's going to go? See that? Okay. Now, back in the animation blueprint, we need to get the pitch. Okay? So there's about 1,000 different ways to do this, but we're just going to do it this way. So out of our character master reference, we're going to pull out of this and type get base aim rotation. You see that? And then we're going to make a, what is it? A delta rotator. And I always get these backwards, but we'll figure it out, right? So you take the actor's rotation and you plug that into 1A, I'm guessing. And the base aim rotation goes into B. Then you right click here and split this. And then of course you take the pitch, promote to variable, and call it pitch. And this is probably exactly ass backwards, but we'll check it here. All right, now we need to go back into here. And I guess, I don't know, we may have to split this character in half, but let's just see here. So we take the AO dual pistols, plug this into the base pose. And let's plug in the pitch. This probably is exactly wrong, but let's just see. Yep, it's exactly backwards when I go. Of course it's fucking backwards, right? So in the event graph of the animation blueprint, these are exactly backwards. This goes into B and this goes into A. I think that ought to fix it. Probably. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Look at that. So he pitches down when you look down and he pitches up when you look up. Voila. Isn't that fantastic? Okay, now what? Excuse me for one moment, guys. I got to go get another pack of smokes. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. See there, it didn't take long. I live at the store. I'm just kidding. Okay, guys. Are you guys in chat over there dead? Are you learning anything? You guys already know how to do all this, don't you? Already know how to do it. Okay. So the next thing that I would like to do is put the crosshair on, right? Because obviously we're going to have a crosshair to shoot at. And the shooting logic is the fun part. Okay, of course it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to cheat like a dog. As always. Let me get rid of all these animations here. Holy crap. Hello, Mr. Crispin. I see you over there in chat. So what we're going to do is in one of these projects that I have somewhere, I put in this scratch project, this is a first person template that comes default from Epic Games. We are going to steal a part of this. Two parts of this, actually. So there is a texture in the first person folder here called Crosshair. First person Crosshair. We're going to asset actions, export that to the desktop. And before we leave here, in the first person BP folder, there is a first person HUD. We're going to open this and we're going to steal this part right here. We're going to highlight this whole part and we're going to hit Control and C to copy this. Then we're going to go back into our fantastical project and we're going to create a new blueprint. And underneath all classes, we're going to do a search for the HUD. And we're going to create the HUD and hit select. And we're just going to call this BP HUD. And we're going to open this. And in the event graph, we're going to delete every bit of this. And we're going to hit Control V and paste this. And then we're going to modificate this. Okay. So we're going to get rid of this VR bullshit. And we're going to get rid of this here. And we're going to plug this back up. Like this. And we're going to subtract. So we're going to type minus vector or float minus float. And we're going to put an 8 in here. And then we're going to plug this into X. And we're going to duplicate that. And we're going to do the same thing in Y. And then we're going to import that texture. So let's make a new folder in here and just call it textures. And we're going to say import that first person crosshair. And we're going to rename this T_default crosshair. And we're going to open it and we're going to check. What the hell was it in here? There's something that's got to change. I think it's this texture group. This needs to be changed to UI and save it. And then for the texture here in the HUD, we are going to plug in the default crosshair, compost and save. And now we have to go into the blueprints, into the game dual pistol mode. And we need to put in the HUD as that HUD that we just created. And now when we spawn in here, theoretically, we have a crosshair on our ass. Which is exactly where it shouldn't be. It's not really a crosshair. It's actually a tattoo. He's got a tramp stamp. You guys know what a tramp stamp is? He's got one. Okay, so what we're going to do is adjust this camera just to smell. So let's open up the character master. And in the viewport, we're going to select the spring arm. And we're going to move this up to about right there. Oh, whoa, come on now. I about forgot how to drive Unreal Engine. So we move the front of the spring arm up to about his belly button area. And now we're going to take the camera here. Actually, we're going to select the spring arm and underneath the socket offset here, under the Z, raise that up about 80. And let's go see what that looks like. Oh, look at that. Now he's got the crosshair up above his head. That's a little better. That's a little better. Okay. Now what? Raise your hand if you know. Now what do we got to do? And guys, feel free, if you feel the urge to donate to this stream, you can do so from my page, clicking the PayPal link. Any donations are appreciated. Okay, so now we got to figure out a gun. We need a gun. I believe that's where we're at, right? We need a gun. We need 2 guns, actually. And we're going to need some sockets on the hands of this character. So, what we can do here is that pack that we looked at earlier that I told you guys was free. Let me show you guys how you can actually find that. So if you go to the marketplace, and it's hidden, by the way, it's secret. So pay attention here. Right here where it says free, you see how when you hover over that, it gives you all this menu here? Just click where it says free. Don't click any of this, just this. And then if you go from the oldest to the newest, oldest first, and you scroll down through here, there's some double secret, triple probation, hidden stuff in here. So as you can see, there's some free characters, free weapons. You can use these kind of pistols. But I believe that the sci-fi free shit, or maybe it ain't, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Scratch that. Okay. So maybe we go under the permanently free and we type in dark. Let's just type dark. God damn it. What are these things called? I'm going to sit here and spend 3 hours trying to find this shit. Okay, here we go. Sci-fi weapons dark. So let's see if they're still free. Hell, they may not be free anymore, guys. I don't know. I didn't buy these, so they had to be free. So back in the marketplace, type in SCI space FY weapons. Are you fucking shitting me? Sci-fi weapons dark. I don't know how you guys are going to find these, okay? Can I do this? Like, let me copy these and do a search. It's not bringing them up. So apparently these son of a bitches ain't even findable anymore. Okay. Here's you guys a contingency. Back to the free. Just click free. And go to oldest to newest. And you guys are going to have to use either this set or this set. Okay? I'm not using those. I'm using these ones that somehow I have from somewhere. Okay, they just may not be available anymore. So we're going to add this this project, which is the project that I'm working in. Okay, so let's go back in here and see if it put this shit in here. Nope, that's not the right project. It's this one. And voila, there it is. Okay, so before we do anything else, we need to put some sockets on that skeleton. So under the anim starter pack, under the mannequin, under the mesh, we are going to open up the skeleton of this character. Actually, we need an animation to be playing, right? So let's go under the animation tab. In the idle, let's just pause this so that it don't move on us. And then under the skeleton tab, we're going to go to the right hand. Actually, let's just go to the left hand. And let's slow this camera down because holy crap, that's fast. Like so. And we're going to right click over here and click add socket. And this is going to be L weapon. Just like that. And then we're going to right click the socket and we're going to click add preview asset. And we're looking for that darkness pistol. It. And then we're going to turn off our snaps on our rotation. And we're going to try to finagle this thing into position here. So we're going to do something like this. Something like this. Something like this. God, it's been so long since I did this shit. I don't even remember how the fuck to do it anymore. Maybe switch over to this. Oh yeah, that looks great. He's only pointing down at the ground. I'm sure that's fine. By the way, you can select this and change it from global to local. See that? I generally don't fool with that, but you can do that. And, you know, I'm not going to sit in here all day trying to line this bullshit up. I think you guys kind of get the idea. God damn it. And, you know, you might want to get back towards his head and just kind of, okay, let's see if we can get him aiming sort of the right damn way. And you know, these animations weren't necessarily made for this weapon. So we're just going to kind of jerry rig it in here. Something like that. Okay. We're going to call that good. Now we need to go to the right hand, right click, add socket. And we're going to call this, what the hell did we call the other one? L weapon. We're going to call this one R weapon. And then we're going to right click, add preview asset, same pistol. And now we get to do that bullshit all over again, right? So we're going to rotate this that way, rotate it up some, rotate it back that way some, maybe that way some, and pray. Oh yeah, that looks perfect. Not quite. Kind of come back here, look back across his head, right? And we're just going to call that good. Okay. Maybe it needs to go that way just a little bit. Maybe that way just a little bit. Whatever, right? You guys get the idea. So we're going to save that. Okay. Now, we did not put the weapon on the character. All we did was line up the preview. Okay. Just so you guys know. Now we have sockets that we can hook these weapons to. Okay. So now what we need to do is make a new blueprint. And this is just going to be an actor blueprint. And we're going to call this VP Weapon Master. Like so. We're going to open this. And we're going to... I guess we could just leave that default scene root in it. I don't think it matters. But what we need to do is add a skeletal mesh component. And we're going to call this one L mesh. And then we're going to add another skeletal mesh component. And this is going to be R mesh. Like so. And we're going to go ahead and plug in those pistols, right? So we're going to put the, where the hell is it? The pistol. And we're going to put the pistol. So there's going to be two meshes in here, right? Remember, we're doing dual pistols. And another thing that sucks something terribly here is that these weapons are facing down the Y-axis. You see this little gauge over here? You see how they're facing down the Y? That's actually a no-no, right? Because X-axis is forward in the Unreal Engine. Okay, so your weapons should be facing down the X-axis by default, and these are not. So we're going to fix it, okay? Because damn that, and damn that guy that made these too, by the way, for him being wrong. So we're going to export this weapon, and we're just going to stick it on the desktop like so. And then we're going to re-import this gun. Actually, let's go to import, pick the pistol, and yes, we want to override all. And what we're going to do is for the import rotation, we're going to do, what is it, 90 or negative 90 in the Z? I don't know. Is it that? Negative 90 in the Z? Yep. See there how it switched it? Now it's facing the correct way. It's facing down the X. So now if we go back in here and look at this weapon in this blueprint, now you can see it's facing the correct way, and we won't have to dick around with trying to turn the son of a bitch around. All your stuff should conform. Okay. So if you have your weapon facing down the X, that means every single weapon that you put in your project from that point forward should face the X axis. Now you could have left it facing down the Y, and you could have adjusted it in the blueprint. But then that means every single weapon that you bring in, you need to make sure they're all facing down the Y. It's best just to go ahead and correct it from the get-go. X is forward in the Unreal Engine. Your weapon shoots forward. Make the weapon go down X. It just makes things more easy. And hello, Mr. Ripper Junkie. Welcome home. Okay, so now we need to get this thing hooked up on this dude, right? Ain't that what we need to do next? Here comes the fun part. So, back in the blueprints, in the character blueprint, we're going to use an event begin play. And what we're going to do is spawn actor from class. And the class we're going to be spawning is that master weapon. Owner and instigator, that will be self. Get a reference to self and go ahead and plug that into the owner and the instigator, like so. And we need a transform, right? So we could just pull out of this and say get actor. Oh yeah, that's spelled exactly right. Get actor transform. That should work, I guess. Let's just pop in here and see if it spawns the son of a bitch. Yep, there it is. It spawns it. It spawns it right there at about his belly button. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's okay. It attaches instantly. Seems like I did this differently. I don't really remember, but it doesn't matter as long as it gets spawned in. Then you could promote this to a variable here and call this BP weapon master ref. Okay. Actually, you know what? It'd probably be better to call that BP current weapon ref. BP current weapon ref. That'll work. And then we need to, what was it? L weapon get mesh. Oh God, is it really going to be this? Let me open this weapon up here. We need to get these, right? So maybe skeletal mesh, maybe type skeletal. We need get skeletal mesh. Skin mesh, that's not what we're looking for. Get skeletal mesh, no. Get skeletal, no. God damn it. That's not what we're looking for, right? That is absolutely not what we're looking for. L mesh. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Attach actor. Actor to component. I'll figure this out in a minute. For some reason, it's not letting that reference come through. And the parent would be this mesh. And let's just put it in the R weapon. What did I call that? Snap to target, keep world. What did I call those sockets? Did I put socket at the end of it? I don't remember. Do you guys remember? Because I don't remember. It's just weapon. L weapon and R weapon. So that would be R weapon. So that's correct. All right, let's just see if that attached it. I've got to put them in the hands. And now that I've changed the damn rotation of them guns, I'm going to have to go back in there to fix that bullshit. Great. I wonder now if we reset this. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Damn it, now I got to reset all this bullshit again. Really? Really? Whatever. Well, it looks like it's a little easier to line up this time at least. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Now let's go back here and see how screwed up this is. Good enough. Lock it down. Ship it. Now I've got to figure out why I'm not able to get the reference to that. See, it lets you set it, but where's the goddamn get it? Maybe it's because of his stupid name. I bet that's what it is. Here's what we're going to do. Let's put L pistol mesh and R pistol mesh. I bet it's a damn naming problem is what it is. So from here, let's say pistol. Look at that shit. Did you guys see the problem? It was not showing because I just called it L mesh and R mesh, and it was some kind of stupid naming conflict. Okay. And that was the problem. So when I changed the name of the meshes in the blueprint, it works now. So we get the R pistol mesh, and we need to attach to component. Let's see, scene component. Target is actor. I think it's this. And the parent would be the mesh. Okay, I think we're getting it now. So let's plug this up. And this will be the R weapon. And we need to snap to target, and keep world. And then we need the L pistol mesh. And we need to do the same thing here. Except this time, it's going in the other socket, right? So let's pull out of this mesh here. That goes into the parent. And this will be the L weapon socket. And that should do it, right? So now we should have a pistol in the right hand and a pistol in the left hand. And voila. And it follows our aim offset. Look at that shit. Beautiful. Holy crap. Let me bring Chad over here. Hello, Mr. Oni. Hello, Mr. Crispin. And hello, Douglas. And hello, Ripper Junkie. It's good to see you guys. And I'm doing great. Couldn't be more great if I tried. Okay. This damn live stream's taking a lot longer than I suspected it would. But that's okay. We got this, man. All right, so we need to add a fire weapon button to our settings, right? So let's go under project settings, under input, under action map, and we're going to add fire weapon. And this is going to be the left mouse button. Like so. Save all the things. Back in the character blueprint. And we're going to, actually we need to go into the weapon blueprint, right? So here's what we're going to do in the master weapon blueprint. We're going to delete all these events out of here. And we're going to right click and create a custom event. And we're going to type on weapon fire. And then we're going to go ahead and do another custom event. And we're going to put off weapon fire. And let's just abandon ship right here. So let's go back into the character blueprint, and we're going to right click and type fire. We want this action event fire weapon. We're going to get our current weapon reference that we made, and we're going to call Actually, let's do this. Is valid. You don't have to do this, but we're gonna do an is valid check first. Actually, we need to do this on both. On released as well. It's just good practice to do that, because if this weapon is not valid, meaning there ain't no weapon in the blueprint, you don't want this to be able to fire if you ain't holding a weapon. Really matters more in multiplayer, but whatever. It's just good habit. And then we're going to call on weapon fire. And we're going to call off weapon fire. And that's it. It's done. We just created a whole entire game. I'm just kidding. There's still more work to do. Shit. Always more work to do, guys. Always. Back in the weapon blueprint. In here. Now we're going to do some stupid shit. Okay. So we're going to be doing a sphere trace. Oh yeah, that's spelled exactly right. Sphere trace by channel. And we'll talk about why I use a sphere trace instead of a line trace. We'll talk about that here in a minute. So just hang tight. So we're going to make some mistakes on purpose so that I can explain why we're going to do it differently. Okay, so bear with me here. This will be a good exercise for you guys, hopefully. And feel free to donate to my PayPal. $5, $10, $2, $1. The link is in the descriptions of these videos, I believe, and it's also on my YouTube page. There's a logo in the upper right hand corner. You guys can do that if you choose to. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a character reference inside this blueprint. So I'm going to show you guys something really cool here. And a lot of people that try to do tutorials get this shit exactly wrong. So hopefully I'll explain this so that you guys understand this, okay? When you spawn an actor, you have the ability to add a pin to this spawn node, okay? And so to do that in the weapon, which is the actor that we're spawning, we're going to create a variable in here, and we're going to call this BP character master ref. Okay? And we're going to change it from a Boolean variable to a character master. See this character master reference. And we're going to compile that and save it. With the variable that we just created selected, over here in these fancy boxes over here, we're going to check expose on spawn. And I don't know if we have to check editable or not, but we're just going to do expose on spawn, compile that and save it. It's going to scream at us and tell us we're dipshits. Okay. So right here it says is marked for expose on spawn, but not marked as editable. So it does in fact have to be editable and exposed on spawn. Now by doing that, if we go back into the character master reference and you look at this spawn node, look at this new pin that we have. Do you guys see this? So now this self variable that we, this self function that we've done here, we can plug this into the BP character master reference. And what this does is, as this blueprint spawns, it's going to create a reference to the character that is holding the gun, which then means you can access any variables that are on this character blueprint inside the weapon. Now, why do we need to do this exactly? Well, the reason is because we need a reference to the camera. Oh, hell. What did I call that damn camera? It's just called camera. Maybe let's change the name of this to follow cam. How about that? Names matter, guys. It's easier to just go ahead and name your shit. That way you don't have to try to hunt up the default stuff. So what you can do is take that reference that you created, get it, and from that you can type follow. And right here, you see you can get a reference to the follow cam. See that? See how nifty that is? And now you don't have to do that whole on event begin play, cast to the character, get a reference. You don't have to do that anymore, right? Because you now have a permanent reference to the character that's holding the gun. See how that works? Saves you from a cast. You don't have to cast. And so from that, we're going to say get world location. And that is going to be the starting point for this trace. And then we're going to say get world rotation. From the rotation, we want the forward vector. And we're going to multiply this. So type multiply vector times float. And then we're going to add. So type add. Type plus, because fucking Unreal, right? So we're going to do vector plus vector. Add these two values back together. That's going to be the end. And this will be the length of the trace. So by default, I'm just going to put in 4,000. And the actors to ignore, we're going to take this character master reference and we're going to say make array. And we're going to plug that in so that it will ignore the character that's shooting the gun. So you can't get that screwed up. And we're going to put in the visibility to, no, that's wrong. The draw debug is going to go to for duration. And theoretically, we should have a line going from the camera to where the crosshair is. See that? So let's go ahead and put us in something to shoot at. Let's just make a wall of some sort. There, that's perfect. Let's go ahead and build the lighting so that that'll shut the hell up about the lighting not built. You ain't got no damn light mass importance volume. I thought you was a professional. You suck. I think I'm doing fairly good for not being in this damn engine for a year. Okay. All right. So now we've got a line coming from the gun. See that? Okay. And it's going right where the crosshair's pointed. See that? Now we're going to talk about a few things that every other tutorial that you guys watch gets wrong. One thing that they get wrong is this. Okay. So if I was to put that crosshair on my back and shoot, Well, actually, first we got to dick with some collision, okay? See how when I shoot myself in the back, the line goes straight through my back? See that? Well, that's actually wrong, okay? So, in the character master blueprint, under the mesh, under the collision, we need to change this collision preset here to custom, and we need it to block the visibility channel, okay? Because that's what those lines are tracing for, the visibility channel. So if this was a multiplayer scenario, which it ain't, but if it was, if you don't set that correctly, you can't even shoot the enemy. It goes right through them, and you don't want that, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and turn on pawn and vehicle. And once again, for freebie videos that I make, I'm not really covering multiplayer. If you're extremely interested in multiplayer, you should go to my Udemy link, which is in the banner of my YouTube page next to the PayPal link. And I have a course on Udemy for creating a first-person multiplayer shooter from ground zero, putting in menus, getting you to be able to play on Steam. The first 5 videos in that series are free. You can go watch those, and if you're interested on going further, you can buy the course, okay? But for freebie stuff, it's pretty much just this kind of stuff, single player stuff. But even with that, feel free to make a donation to my PayPal if you would like to see more videos of me, you know, UE4ing, bruh, game deving, bruh. I'm trying to get myself motivated to get back in this, but we'll see. So now when I shoot myself in the back, it's still not hitting. It's still not hitting. So what the actual hell? Did I not just fix this? I thought I just fixed this. Block camera, block visibility. Maybe it's the capsule component. That also needs to be custom, and that needs to ignore visibility, right? You don't want to hit the capsule component. I bet you I know what it is. I bet you it's this. It's where I already told it to ignore self. Is that what it is? Why is this son of a bitch not hitting me? Oh, there it is. Okay, so you see that little red cube on there? That's the indication that what you just shot hit. Well, do you guys see how, since the trace of this is coming from the camera, you can actually shoot yourself in the back. And on top of that, you can also do crazy shit like this. Well, maybe not. But anyway, you can shoot yourself in the damn back, okay? That's the point I'm trying to make, and you don't really want that. Now, by doing this in the weapon blueprint, by doing this, you disable the ability to shoot yourself in the back. But if there was another player standing behind you, you could still shoot them. The point I'm trying to make is the trace coming from the camera, which is what you need it to do, okay, so that you can get the trace to line up with the crosshair, is coming from too far back, okay? So the way that I correct this, which some people find odd, but I don't, is in the character blueprint, what I do is I add a sphere collision, okay? And I call this trace start location, okay? And as you can see, it puts a collision here. what I do is I parent that sphere to the follow cam. And when you do that, if you come over here and zero this out by hitting this yellow, you can see that it puts that sphere right up here on the camera. Now, you need to make sure that this sphere does not have any collision. So you want to come to the collision with the sphere selected. No collision. No characters can stand on it, and no, it does not need to generate overlap events. Now, another thing that I do is I shrink the size of it because it doesn't need to be that big. So take your sphere radius and shrink it. It can be super tiny, right? So let's set it to 5. And then all I do is take that and move it forward up to the head of the character. Round about there-ish. Compile it and save it. Now just move it straight forward, okay? Now what happens is, instead of the trace coming from the camera, it comes from... Oh, wait a minute. We got to change our logic, okay? So in the weapon master, you guys remember what we were getting is the follow cam. Instead of the follow cam, what we need is the trace start location. And then we plug this in instead of the follow cam. Okay? And now what happens is the trace still follows the camera, but instead of coming from way behind you, now it starts right there where that little sphere is, which is right at your head. And then you now cannot shoot yourself in the damn back. Do you see that? And that also means that if any players are behind you and you're shooting, you're not shooting them in the back either. Do you guys see what I did there? Do you see that? Do you see what I did there? Okay. And it's important, funnily enough, it's important that that trace comes from the camera. That way, it lines up with where the crosshair's pointed. Do you see? No matter which angle you're shooting at, it will always line up with right exactly where that crosshair is. Now, what's really funny is that that trace that we just created has nothing to do with what the guns are going to do, okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to make a trace come from the right muzzle of the pistol and go to where that trace from that camera come from. And then we're going to make the left gun go from the muzzle to where that other trace hit. So this trace that we put in here, the only purpose of that is to tell the pistol where to shoot at. Okay? That's it. It's a smoke screen. That's all it's for. Okay? So now what we need to do is, one other thing too before I finish here. The reason that I use a sphere trace, actually I used a multi. I did not mean to use a multi. It needs to be just a sphere trace by channel. So, son of a bitch. So now let's plug all this stuff back up. Sorry about that. Guys, I'm rusty. I'm telling you, I ain't been in here doing shit for a long ass time. And then this goes here. And then we can get rid of that. All right, let me go check and make sure we're back to where we've been. We don't need a multi-trace. We just need a single sphere trace. So let me go see if that's actually still doing what it should be. And it is. Okay. So the reason that I use a sphere trace and not a line trace is because you can then put in a little bit of a radius. Okay, because everybody knows that bullets are not skinny ass little lines. Okay, So by doing a sphere trace, now you see that you can pump up the radius of the trace a little bit to simulate the actual size of the projectile. And another bonus is that it makes things easier to hit, a little bit easier to hit, because instead of shooting a little skinny ass line that you can barely hit anything with, you're actually shooting a little bit bigger of a radius. Do you guys see the purpose of that? Now, you wouldn't want to make that sphere radius something like 50, but being able to bump it up just a little bit is it feels far better shooting at things when you're shooting with a little bit of a radius than it is trying to hit things with a little skinny ass line, which is exactly all a line trace is. So it just gives you a little bit more flexibility in your tweaking of your weapon firing. Okay. Okay. Now the next part of this is obviously we're going to be doing this again. So we're going to duplicate that. And immediately after this one, we're going to do another one. Okay. And this time around, the start location is going to be the muzzle of the right pistol. So we need to go check and see if we have a muzzle socket on this crappy weapon that we put in here. So we need to find the pistol, and we need to go to the skeleton of the pistol, and you can see that there is a socket on here called muzzle. Okay, so we need the name of that. So you could copy this, Control C, and in the master weapon, we need to, from the right mesh, we need to get socket location, and this is going to be that name. That is going to be the start location. Okay. The end location is going to be two different locations, right? So we're going to do a select vector here, and this is going to be based off of if this first trace from the camera hits anything, we're going to send this to, let's break this. If this first trace hits anything, we're going to send it to the impact point of that first trace. If it does not hit anything, we're going to send it to the end point of that trace. And that is going to be the end location. And we still need to ignore this same actor here. Compile that and save it. And now check out what we've done here. So the first trace from the camera lines up directly with the crosshair. The second trace comes from the muzzle of the right pistol, and it goes exactly where that first trace hits. Do you see that? And so, as you might have guessed by now, we need to do the exact same thing from the other pistol. So back in the master weapon, we need to duplicate this again. And we're going to do another trace. This time around, we're going to use the left pistol. We can duplicate this. And it's still going to be using the muzzle socket. I'll have to clean this up here in a minute. This is getting messy. That's going to be the start. The end is going to be based on exactly the same as that one. And we need to ignore this same actor, just like this. Okay, let's compile that and save it. And now let's see if we've got one coming from the right pistol too. Now we've got them both coming. See there? How about that shit? That is professional quality shooting mechanics right there, guys. Perfectly accurate. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is actually get a firing weapon animation playing, right? Because right now that just looks derpy. And this will also have a little bit to do with the timing. Okay. So in other words, both pistols are not going to fire at exactly the same time. So by getting the animation in, we'll be able to determine how long after the first pistol fires we have to wait before we fire the second pistol. Does that make sense? So we need to go back into the Twin Blast project where I've got all these Twin Blast animations in, and we need a fire. What the hell is it called? Shoot. Am I literally going to have to look through 10,000 goddamn animations? Is that exactly what's going to have to happen here? Fire. All right, we got double shots. We've got primary fire, medium A, primary fire, fat. I mean, there's only about 12 different damn firing animations in here. So let's just see what medium A looks like. How about that? That works for me. Okay. So we're going to export this one. And that's going to go on the desktop. And then we're going to go back in here. In the Duel wields, import, and we're going to bring in that primary fire animation. That's going to go on our default skeleton, the mannequin, and we're going to say import all. Yes, yes, yes. We know there's a shit ton of bones missing. We got it. We got the memo. Okay? We got the memo. Have you guys died over there in chat? Isn't this interesting stuff? You guys don't like this stuff? You don't find this fascinating? How much work actually goes into making shit? It's a lot, guys. It really is. So we need to make a montage. So we're going to right click in here. We're going to go to animation, and we're going to make an animation montage. It's going to be for the derpy skeleton. And we're going to call this MON for montage. Fire weapon. We're going to open this, and we're going to drag in that primary fire montage. And let's hit play here and see if it plays, and it plays. So now comes the fun part, which I'll probably not remember how to do this exactly, but we're going to try it anyway. Okay, so in the character blueprint, master character blueprint, down here where we're shooting the gun, right here where we did this, we're going to create a Boolean variable called is weapon firing ? Compile that and save it. And we're going to bring this in, and we're going to do a set. And we're going to say right here, this is true. Be sure and plug this back up. And then we're going to dupe it. Control W. And we're going to set it false right here. Compile that and save it. And now we're going to go into the animation blueprint for the character master. And right here where we skipped we're going to pull out of our character master reference here, and we're going to say is weapon firing, get is weapon firing. And we're going to promote this to a variable. And we're going to call this is weapon firing. No question mark. I ain't putting a question mark on this one because it might give some kind of bullshit naming convention error. So out of then 0, we're going to pull up here and we're going to monitor whether this is true or false. Okay. And then we're going to add a pin here, and we're going to put a branch like this, and we're going to check is weapon firing. And if that becomes true, we're going to right click and say is montage. Yep, that's wrong. We're going to type montage, and there's a function in here called montage is playing. Do you see it? We're going to get that. We're going to put in that firing weapon montage, and we're going to put another branch here, and we're going to say is montage is playing. If it's true, let's actually put a not here because this drives me batshit crazy. It's hard to speak in booleans, okay? If the montage is not playing, we're going to montage play. Same exact montage, okay? So if the montage is not if the weapon is firing, this becomes true. Then we're going to check to see if the montage is playing. If it's not playing, this becomes true. We're going to play it. Okay? Now, here comes the part that's stupid. We're going to come in here and try to shoot this gun, and it ain't going to do a damn thing. It ain't going to play a damn thing. Now, why is that? Well, it's because animation sucks, and it always will, and it always has. So in the animation blueprint, we're going to have to go in the anim graph here, and we're going to have to do some modifications. The first thing that we're going to have to do is, let me see if I can remember how to do this without referencing anything. So we're going to create a cache, a new save cache pose, okay? And we're going to call this loco base, like that, okay? Then what we're going to do is a blend layered blend per bone. Do you see it right here? We're going to do this. And we're going to select this node, and we're going to change it over here under layer setup. We're going to add a branch filter, and we're going to split this sucker at spine underscore 01. And actually, that ain't what we need to do just yet, right? So go ahead and do that, but that's not what we need just yet. What we actually need is to take the loco base, use cache pose loco base, and then we're going to get what's called the default slot default, and then we're going to cache this sucker again. Okay, new save cache pose. This one is going to be called Loco with Default Slot. Okay? Oh, wow. I didn't mean to put a slash at the end of it. Okay, do you guys follow what we did here? I hope so, because I'm losing myself in translation here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take the Loco base, and that's going to go in our base pose. Then we're going to put in our animation aim offset into the blend. But for this one, we're going to use the with default slot. So we're going to say Loco, use cache pose with Loco with default slot. And theoretically, what should happen here is it should just work magically, as if almost by magic. And now you can see clearly that it's playing the animation. Okay. And when we move around and shoot, since we did that blend, do you see how it's allowing his lower body to keep walking? You see that? Now here's what's really messed up. If we hadn't have done this, let me show you guys what happens. So let's just pretend for a moment that we didn't do any of this. Here's what you guys are going to get. So first of all, it won't do anything. Do you see that? Okay. Now, if you go ahead and do the default slot, which is what you do to get the montage to play, but you don't do that split and do this, the layered blend, let me show you guys what you get. This is really cool. So now when you shoot, you see how his lower body just stays stationary? Do you see that? Ain't that derpy? Look at that, I'm skating, man. Yeah, that's bullshit. Animation sucks. I really just hate it. So anyway, let's put this shit back together again. The way that it's supposed to be. All right. And now I think we're still not done, right? So what happens now if I just hold the trigger down? All right, well, he just keeps shooting. So I guess this right here really comes in. Well, here's the problem. Okay. So when I squeeze the trigger, he shoots and you see the traces, but look what happens if you hold it down. It only does it one time. Do you see that? So that means the animation's playing, but the gun ain't shooting. Do you see that? You know what? Actually, there's another setting in here that we need to dick with. So on this layered blend per node bone, we need to check this magical box right here that says mesh space rotation. Did you guys notice how he was jerky derpy? And now it's a lot smoother. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. See, people just show you stuff and they don't explain anything. And that's why I try to do my tutorials a little bit differently. So if we uncheck this box here, whenever he's shooting the gun, look how jerky and poppy he is. Do you see that? See how he's leaning back and it's kind of jerking and popping? To smooth that out, you select the layered blend per bone and you can do this. That helps significantly, but there's a little bit more that you can do to actually make it even better. So see there now, it's a lot smoother than it was. See that? But if you want to go even further with this layered blend per bone, you can put in a blend depth here. This is how many bones it spreads that blend across. Right now, it's only spreading it across the spine 0-1. But if we was to put a 3 in here like this, it probably will smooth it out even more. Now, do you see how much more smooth that is? Okay. So now the problem is we only want the guns to shoot one time. So what we can do is in the animation blueprint, back in the event graph of the animation blueprint, we can put in what's called a do once. And it's a flow control called do once. So now it will only shoot one time, meaning it'll only play this montage one time. And when this becomes false, that's what we'll use to reset the do once. Double click to put your reroute nodes here. And now that should only fire, squeeze the trigger and hold it down, and it should only shoot one time and then it quits. See? So it ain't doing that anymore. Now, if you want to shoot again, you got to release the trigger and squeeze it again. Now, once again, you guys can do whatever it is that you want to do. I mean, there's ways that you can automate it, make it automated, where you just squeeze the trigger and it'll fire at a set rate or whatever. But for now, we're just going to one trigger squeeze. You get 2 shots, one from the right gun, one from the left gun. Okay. But now the problem is that when you squeeze the trigger, they're both firing at exactly the same time. Okay. So in other words, it doesn't match the animation. So we need to put a little bit of a delay in here. So what you can do is you can go into the animation of the fire weapon animation and pause this animation, scrub it back to the beginning, and you can see when the guns move, right? So if you scrub it, that one right there shoots instantly. But if you'll see, there's a delay before the second gun shoots. Bam. Right there is where it shoots at. So we're looking at about, if you look down here on this line, you can see that it's about 1 second before that second gun shoots. Okay. And that would be the left gun. So in the master weapon blueprint, what you can do is you can put a delay, flow control delay, and before you allow this gun to shoot, you go into this delay and you put in 1 second. Okay. Compile that and save it. And now it shouldn't do that second shot until 1 second after the first one shoots. Let me point it at the ground so you guys can see. Oh, that's too long, right? Do you see how that, do you see the delay? So I've got that screwed up. I must have not looked at my animation montage correctly. Hold on a damn minute here. Hold on a damn minute here. Oh, I see. The whole entire animation's 1 second. We're supposed to be looking at this number here. So about 0.2, let's call it. Maybe that's better. How about now? There, that's a little better. So see there, it doesn't fire that second line trace until the gun kicks. See it? Maybe that's a little bit too much. I could literally sit in here dicking with this all day. So let's put 0.18. How about that? Not a full 0.2. There, that's better. Okay. I heard my beep go off here. Let me make sure I'm not needed for something. Nope, I'm not needed for something. But someone sent a PayPal. So whoever that was, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let me get me a drink here. Where do we go from here? Are we going to build a whole entire game? Is that what we're doing? There's something obviously missing here. Anybody know what it is? Well, we got no muzzle flash. And we got no sound effect. And we got no projectile. Currently, this is only a hit scan weapon. So, by the way, if any of you guys like the content that you're viewing here at this moment, I don't know how many guys are here. I don't know how many are watching. But even if you guys happen to watch this after the fact, meaning you weren't here for the live stream, if you guys like this content and would like to see more content like this, you can do a donation to my PayPal to support this channel, which then motivates me to make more content. Okay. Or alternately, if you want to see multiplayer stuff, you should go check out my Udemy course. Okay. Or you can buy my products that are on the UE4 marketplace. That also helps. Links are in the banner of my YouTube page. Okay. So with that, we're going to put some sound effects in here. So we're going to open up the master weapon blueprint. And now that we've done all that, we're going to create a new custom event. And we're going to call this, let's just call it Play Weapon FX. How about that? And we are going to add actually, you know what? We may actually have to break this apart into two. We need a weapon effect for, see, dual pistol. This is why a lot of people don't do dual pistols, guys. It's because it's a pain in the ass because you've got two weapons. Okay. I mean, I suppose you could do just one, like one event, but it would probably make more sense and be easier to follow if I just break it apart into two. So the right weapon fires first. So we're going to say play R weapon FX. And then we're going to pass through some information from this hit result right here. We need the hit and we need the return value. So select that custom event, add two inputs. One is going to be called hit result. Change it from a Boolean to the type hit result. And this one is just going to be called simply hit. Compile that and save it. And then call that event right here. Play R right here. Call function play R weapon FX. So go here, out into the hit result and hit into the hit, and then bring one down here just like that. So we'll get the right weapon doing a muzzle flash and playing a sound first, and then we'll come back and do the second weapon. Okay, now once again, you could do both in one event, but it's far more complicated and it'll be easier to follow just doing it this way. Okay? Okay. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to spawn emitter at location. The emitter is going to be the particle effects that came in those crappy weapons, right? So we need a pistol muzzle flash is what we're looking for here. Maybe I should just type pistol instead of sitting here squinting. Pistol muzzle flash dark. Well, there's two. There's a dark and a light. Does it matter? Do you guys care? I don't care. Do you care? Well, let's go with the dark. Uh-oh. Oh, there it went. I just locked my shit up. That's bad. Okay. And the location is going to be the muzzle socket of that gun. Okay. So we can bring in the right. Oh, shit. What did I just do here? Can I Control Z that shit? There we go. Holy shit. I just screwed the pooch there. Don't do that. Thank God for Control Z. The right weapon is the one we're doing, so we need to make sure we get the right mesh. And from that, we need to get socket location. And the socket that we're looking for is this same socket over here. See this? So if we promote this to a variable here, and we call this socket name, maybe muzzle socket name. It should have pre-filled that out, which it may not have, but it should have. So let's go ahead and compile and save that. And you can see that that's the name that we had already typed in there. See? Well, this is another thing when it comes to conformity, guys. If your socket on the end of your barrel of your gun is called muzzle, name every single socket on every single end of every single gun muzzle. Or go rename it to muzzle socket and just make sure that every weapon in your game, you make sure that it has a socket on the end of the barrel and you name it exactly the same on every single weapon. Conformity matters, guys. So now you can take that variable and plug it in here. And alternately, you can take that same variable, get it, and plug it in here. Now, you don't have to keep track with 84 different damn muzzle socket names. Does that make sense? So that should be spawning a muzzle flash. Let's go see if it is. There it went. Did you see it? It looks like it's pointing the wrong way. Am I crazy or is that pointing the wrong way? Let's go look at these shitty weapon effects and see what these jackasses did here. So, particles. And we need the pistol. And we use the dark. So let's open this up and let's see if we can figure out why this is pointing the wrong way. So I don't know where this actually is. There should be something in here called something to the effect of use local space or some bullshit like that. Let's see. Required. Well, it looks like it's on use local space. Maybe let's check all of them. Ah, that one right there. Use local space. Use local space. And that one's use local space. So now that we changed that, let's go see if it's actually facing the correct way now. Who the hell makes this shit anyway? I don't know. I can't really tell. Maybe it should be unchecked. Is that what it is? Let's try them all unchecked. There's something screwed here, and I don't know what it is, and I don't want to sit here all day trying to figure it out either. But it looks to me like that the particle is not facing the correct way, depending on which way the character is pointed. Well, I'm going to leave that one for you guys. Just be aware that a lot of the stuff you get off the UE4 marketplace has lots of issues. This is a perfect example. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, one of these is screwed up somehow. You know, that's going to bug me. See, like shooting that way, it looks like it's flashing right in front of the gun. But yet if I turn this way, it looks like it's shooting to the left of the gun. Or am I wrong? Fuck, I don't know. Let's just turn them back on. All right, fine. We're going to leave it at that. I'll let you guys figure that out. I don't have no damn idea. I didn't make it. I didn't make these effects. I don't know. Okay, so now we need a sound effect. So we're going to say spawn sound attached. Okay, spawn sound attached, not play sound at location. Spawn sound attached. Why don't you just play the sound at the location? Because by the time you shoot and move, your sound effect is fading away. It's weird. Okay, it's just weird. Don't do that. Okay, so the sound effect is going to be the pistol. There should be some sort of a pistol firing cue in here somewhere. Pistol A fire cue. That works. The attached to component is going to be the right pistol, right? Remember, that's the one that we're working on. We're just going to leave the attach point name empty. You could put in the muzzle socket here if you want to, but I'm going to leave it empty because that just puts it at the center point of the pistol mesh, which is fine. It don't have to be perfect, but it does need to be attached. Otherwise, as you're shooting and moving, the sound gets weird. Okay, so there's that. Now we need to do the left pistol. So I said you could do, oh shit, I just closed that. That is exactly not what I meant to do. So we need to reopen this. Damn it. Now that's going to take 3 hours. This is where I was saying that you could probably do this with one single event, but by doing it with two, it's a little bit easier to follow, but you have to duplicate it, right? You have to do the same thing twice, which is, some people get annoyed by that redundancy, but it doesn't much matter to me. So we're going to go ahead and do it back in the weapon blueprint. Why are you so small? Why does this do that? Why is this crazy? So essentially what we need to do is, actually, let's go ahead and do the impact effect, okay? Before we go on, and then we can cheat. We'll copy and paste this and it'll make it faster. So now we need to spawn emitter at location again. Okay. And I mean, we could do a check here. Put a branch, hold down the B key and left click. And if this hits anything, then we're going to spawn emitter at location. The emitter is going to be a impact. So we got impact metal large dark, metal large light. Let's just use the impact medium dark. Okay. And the location, this is why we pass through our hit results. We're going to break these. And we are going to impact point. And we're going to take the impact normal and we're going to say make rot from Z. Make rotation from Z of the impact normal, and that'll be the rotation. And then we're going to, this one, we're going to play sound at location. This one, it doesn't matter if you're moving or not. So you can do play sound at location. That will be the impact point. And the sound should be impact, knife impact, rifle impact. Is there not a pistol impact? Shotgun impact. What kind of bullshit is this? So we're just going to have to use the rifle surface cue. And now let's see if we have a spark where it hits and a sound. I see it. Do you see it? I hear it. Do you hear it? And now back into the pistola. Now we're going to duplicate every single bit of this. So that last little chunk that we did, select it all and hit Control W. And we're going to change the name of this to Play L Weapon FX. Play L Weapon FX. And we need to change the mesh, just the mesh, to the L pistol mesh. Same exact damn thing, except this is the left pistol. And this also needs to be the left pistol. Compile that and save it. And now we need to call this one at the end after the delay. Play L. Son of a bitch. What is the problem here? Play L Weapon FX. Weapon. There it is. Play L Weapon FX. After the delay, pass through this same information from this hit result. And now we should have, look at that shit. And we can turn off our trace debuggers now. We don't need them anymore. So on all these traces here, we can turn this off to none, and to none. Compile it and save it. And now we ain't got them crappy red lines in the way. Look at that shit. All right, let me bring Chad over here. So, as Cole, we purchased the Udemy course. Well, I thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. That helps a whole lot, and you should learn a lot from that course. I think it's 44 hours in total. So there is a lot of jam-packed information in it, and it is specifically for multiplayer. Okay, so that's good. This that I'm doing right here, this is just for single player. But once you learn multiplayer via that course, you can adapt what I just did here to work in multiplayer. Okay. Also, I think that one is a first person course using 3 separate meshes. This, of course, is set up to be third person. So, a little bit different, but they're close enough to similar that you don't have to, it wouldn't take much to do third or first using that course. Just a little bit of adaptation. Most of it's the same. Okay, guys. Well, what do we do now? These muzzle flashes are still pissing me off. There's something screwed about these things. Wait a minute. You know what it might be? You know what it might be? Look here. We're doing spawn emitter at location. That should actually probably be spawn emitter attached. Could that have been the whole damn problem, really? Could it have been? I don't know. We're fixing to find out, though, ain't we? So we need the same... we need the same muzzle flash. I bet you that's what it is. Pistol muzzle flash dark. Actor to component. So this will be the attached to component, and this will be the name, and this needs to be snap to target, keep world scale, and this goes here. How about that right there is the whole damn problem. So let's dupe this and bring it down here to this one, and let's replace this. I bet you that is the whole damn problem. How about now? So many nodes. Look at that shit. Beautiful. See, and that right there is what I was telling you guys. The sound is derpy too if you don't do, instead of play sound at location for the firing of the sound of the weapon, it's like you're running away from the sound. The sound plays and then you get this weird effect. Well, the muzzle flash is the same deal, right? If you just spawn emitter at location, it's not staying attached before it fades out. So that's what it was right there. You should use spawn emitter attached to the muzzle flash socket. We didn't put in no jump animation. Damn. I have to do that too. I don't know if it even has a jump animation. I don't know. I guess we could go look. How pissed would you guys be if I just left it here? Could you guys figure out the jump animation? Let me go look and see if he's got any jump animations. I don't think he even does. Let me get rid of this. All right, how about it? You got a jump loop? So we got a jump fall. What is this? Okay, that could be the in air. Does he have a jump start and a jump end? Jump land. What is this jump apex bullshit? That's the start. Okay, so I guess he does have them. Okay, so we will take the jump apex, the jump fall loop, and the jump land, and we will export these to the desktop. Save. Save. And save. And then we will go back in here in our dual wield anims, import all three of those jumps to the default dummy skeleton and go. Yes, yes, yes. We know bones are missing. Can you guys tell I'm getting tired? I'm running out of gas here. Okay, so now we're going to go back into the animation blueprint. And we're going to create what's called a jump loop. Okay. So to do that, in the anim graph, we're going to go back into our beginning locomotion here. And we're going to pull out of this. And we're going to type a new state. And this is going to be jump start. Then we're going to make another one. And this is going to be jump loop. Then we're going to make another one. And this is going to be jump land. And then we're going to finish it by connecting it back to here. Okay. So we got this little loop thing going here. Now let's go into jump start. And that was the apex is what that was called. Where is it? Jump apex. We're going to plug that in here. This does not need, so select your animation here. This does not need to be looping. So turn off looping. Then go into the loop. Bring in your jump fall. This one does need to be looping, so leave that checked. And then we need to go into jump land, and that will be jump land. This one does not need to loop, so turn that off. And now we got to go put in the rules. So we need a new variable to monitor whether or not the character's in the air or not, okay? So in the event graph, we need to, I guess we could just put it right over here, right? So what we can do is from that character master reference here, let's pull out of this and get the movement. It's probably down here at the bottom. I think it's the movement component. Get character movement component right here at the end. From the character movement component, we need to know if it is falling. So type is falling and get this. Promote this to a variable. And you can call it is falling. And let's just stack this stuff up here because that's how I roll. And we will come out of here, plug it into here, and then make sure that you plug it back into calculate direction, compile it and save it. And now let's go do back into the locomotion, back in here. In here, we need to know if this character is falling with this variable that we created. Plug that up here. And this one needs to be get is falling. Pull out of that and type not. Put this not Boolean operator here. Is not falling for this one. This one needs to be a ratio, current time remaining ratio. See it right here for the jump apex. This needs to be less than float, less than float. And I usually put in something like 0.1 here. And then this one needs to be the ratio of jump land, time remaining ratio for jump land. This one also needs to be less than float, less than float, 0.1. Compile it and save it. And now let's go see if, look at that. Well, I'm seeing one thing here that bothers me. We need another transition to go from straight out of the jump loop back into this. Okay? And I'm trying to remember what the rule was that I put in. Well, it needs to be not falling and is moving. Okay. So let's create another. I mean, I could just jerry rig this in here, but I would rather do this. So if the speed of the character is greater, float greater than float, if it's greater than 0, let's promote this to a variable. And we'll call this one is moving. So if the speed is greater than 0, well, then that means the character is moving. So now we have another rule here that we can use to make this not look as derpy, right? So in here, this one, we need to have 2. So pull out of this and type and, put an and Boolean operator. So no, that ain't right. It's not this one. Sorry. Shh. It's this one. This one. The character needs to be is falling, get is falling, not Boolean operator, and the character has to be moving. So get that is moving variable that we created. And that goes here. And this one needs modified to be is falling and Boolean operator not moving. So put a not operator here. And that ought to smooth that out a little bit. So compile that and save it. And now when you're not moving, meaning you're standing still and you jump, it'll play that little jump end animation. But if you are moving and you jump, instead of playing that little jump land animation, it goes straight back into the jog. So I think that looks a lot better. And you can mess around with the speeds of those animations too, if you want to. What I mean by that is inside here, for example, you could go into this jump land and you can tinker around with the play rate. So you can speed it up or slow it down to make it look a little better. But I'm not going to dick with that because reasons. I mean, literally, guys, when you're showing people how to do this stuff, you could literally sit in here for hours and hours just tinkering and tweaking with stuff. Which, if you spend too much time tinkering and tweaking with stuff, you don't get anything built. So, no longer than this live stream has been, I know I talked a lot in the beginning. Look how much we've accomplished in this short amount of time. So, I don't know, maybe we'll carry on with this in another stream. We don't have a projectile shooting, right? So, we do have a hit scan set of pistols, but most people want projectiles, you know, to fly out the barrel instead of being a hit scan. So, I don't know, depending on donations and things like that, maybe I'll carry this out and we'll make this into something. I mean, I don't know what, because, you know, obviously we're not doing multiplayer. On these live streams, you only get that with my Udemy course. But I don't know, maybe we could do up some kind of single player, right? Maybe get some AI going that we can shoot at, that'll shoot back at us, maybe. I don't know. It's up to you guys. Really. I'm not back. This is the first time, technically this is not the first time, but like the third time that I've been back in this engine in over a year. I haven't been motivated to do anything, and here we are doing things. So, I mean, I won't delete this project. I don't know. Maybe we could turn this into something. I feel like there's something else that I'm wanting to do here. Well, I'll give you guys, depending on donations, we might carry this out further, but let me show you guys some problems that we have that we could solve. So if we go forward left, see how he does this curly shuffle deal? We could actually make the animations for that. If we go back right, see how he does that curly shuffle? We could actually make the animations for back left and forward left and back right and forward right. We could do that. And we can do that right in the engine, right? We don't have to have an external program. I could show you guys how you could make those animations that are missing to put in here so that he's smoother when you're moving around and stuff. And then of course we could add projectiles instead of just hit scan. We can make it where these things are shooting projectiles. And we could give him health, right? And we could make an AI that can shoot at us and run around so that we could take damage and we could deal damage. So I think I'm going to end the stream right here, guys. So I'll leave this project saved, and maybe we'll do that. All right. Let me clean my desktop up here a little bit. Let me bring Chad over here. So with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this stream. I'll do my closing here. I hope you enjoyed this stream. I hope that you guys learned some stuff. Maybe some of the things you already knew, maybe some things you didn't. If you guys would like to see more streams like this, single player, right? You can make donations and contributions to my YouTube page via the PayPal link on the banner. And maybe I'll get back into this and, start making some stuff again. So with that, you guys take care. This is John Galt, and we will see you in another video in another time. Have a good one, fellows.